In today's interconnecting world, the threat of financial crimes looms large, making the role of transaction monitoring professionals increasingly crucial. As financial institutions strive to combat money laundering, fraud, and other illicit activities, transaction monitoring emerges as a formidable defense mechanism. But what exactly is transaction monitoring? And what questions will be asked when interviewing for a transaction monitoring role? In today's video, we will be taking a look at what is transaction monitoring, qualities employees look for in a candidate for transaction monitoring roles, and questions and answers asked in an interview. Hello, and welcome to another KYC Lookup video, where we bring you AML related content to help you enhance your knowledge in the fight against money laundering. Before diving into today's video, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. Oh, and don't forget to leave us a comment with any suggested topics you would like us to cover in the future. So, on to today's video. What is transaction monitoring? In the ever-changing world of finance, the detection and prevention of financial crimes has become paramount. One key element of this endeavour is the role of transaction monitoring. Transaction monitoring refers to the process of reviewing and analysing financial transactions to identify suspicious or potentially illicit activities. This involves the systematic examination of transactional data, such as payments, transfers, and withdrawals, to detect patterns or anomalies that may indicate money laundering, terrorist financing, fraud, or other financial crimes. What is a transaction monitoring role? A transaction monitoring professional, often working within a financial institution or regulatory body, plays a crucial role in combating financial crimes. Some of their primary responsibilities include monitoring and analysis. Transaction monitoring professionals closely scrutinise transactions on an ongoing basis, employing various tools and technologies to identify suspicious patterns or activities. They analyse large volumes of financial data, often utilising automated systems to detect potential risks. Compliance with AML regulations. Anti-money laundering AML regulations are a critical framework governing financial institutions' obligations to prevent money laundering and terrorist financing. Transaction monitoring professionals ensure compliance by staying updated on the latest regulations and tailoring monitoring processes accordingly. Investigation and reporting. When suspicious transactions are identified, transaction monitoring professionals conduct an in-depth investigation to assess the nature and potential risks associated with those transactions. They gather additional information, collaborate with other teams or departments, and document their findings in comprehensive reports. Qualities needed to become a transaction monitoring officer. Becoming a successful transaction monitoring officer requires a combination of essential qualities and skills. Here are some of the key qualities needed to excel in this role. Analytical mindset. Transaction monitoring officers must possess strong analytical skills to review and interpret large volumes of financial data. They need to identify patterns, anomalies, and potential risks associated with transactions, requiring keen attention to detail and the ability to think critically. Knowledge of AML regulations. A thorough understanding of anti-money laundering AML regulations and compliance requirements is essential. Transaction monitoring officers should stay updated on the latest regulations and industry best practices to ensure effective monitoring and adherence to legal obligations. Investigative skills. Strong investigative skills are crucial for transaction monitoring officers. They should be adept in conducting in-depth investigations, gathering evidence, and connecting dots to identify potential money laundering or fraudulent activities. This involves employing various techniques, such as data analysis, interviews, and document examination. Communication skills. Effective communication is vital for transaction monitoring officers. They must be able to clearly articulate their findings, write comprehensive reports, and communicate with different stakeholders, including compliance teams, law enforcement agencies, and internal departments. Risk assessment abilities. Transaction monitoring officers need to assess the risk associated with transactions accurately. They should be able to evaluate customer profiles, transactional behaviour, and contextual information to determine the legitimacy or suspicious nature of activities. By possessing these qualities and skills, transaction monitoring officers can effectively contribute to the prevention of financial crimes, maintain compliance, and safeguard the integrity of the financial system. Key questions that could be asked when interviewing for a transaction monitoring role. Transaction monitoring plays a crucial role in the detection and prevention of financial crimes. The professionals in this field serve as the forefront defence against money laundering, fraud, and other illicit activities. When interviewing for a transaction monitoring role, you can expect questions that assess your knowledge on anti-money laundering (AML) regulations, your analytical skills, and your ability to handle complex scenarios. Here are some common interview questions and possible answers for transaction monitoring roles. Question: what is your understanding of transaction monitoring and its role in preventing financial crimes? Answer: transaction monitoring is the process of reviewing and analysing financial transactions to detect suspicious or potentially illicit activities. Its role in preventing financial crimes is to identify patterns or anomalies in transactional data that may indicate money laundering, terrorist financing, fraud, or other illicit activities. By closely monitoring transactions, transaction monitoring helps financial institutions and regulatory bodies detect and investigate suspicious activities, comply with anti-money laundering (AML) regulations, and safeguard the integrity of the financial system. Question: can you explain the key elements of an effective transaction monitoring program? Answer: an effective transaction monitoring program consists of advanced technology for real-time data analysis, accurate customer profiling and risk assessment, intelligent alert generation and prioritization, skilled analytics, regular program review and tuning, and a robust governance framework. These elements work together to detect and investigate suspicious activities, comply with regulations, and minimize false positives. Question: how familiar are you with AML regulations and compliance requirements? Answer: I am highly familiar with AML regulations and compliance requirements. I have extensive knowledge in the regulatory frameworks and guidelines governing anti-money laundering practices, including the Financial Action Task Force recommendations and local AML laws. I stay updated on the latest developments in AML regulations and have hands-on experience implementing compliance measures in previous roles. And question: what methods or tools do you use to identify suspicious transactions? Answer: I utilise a combination of methods and tools to identify suspicious transactions. This includes utilising advanced transaction monitoring software that employs rules-based and behaviour-based analytics to detect anomalies and patterns indicative to potential illicit activity. Additionally, I leverage data analysis techniques such as data mining and trend analysis to identify unusual transactional patterns or relationships. Staying updated on industry best practices and typologies of financial crime also helps me effectively identify and investigate suspicious transactions. Of course, this is just a rough guide to some questions that could be asked during your interview. But by doing your own homework and practicing what could potentially be asked, you are staying one step ahead of the other candidates. Well, there you have it. What is transaction monitoring? Qualities employees look for in a candidate for a transaction monitoring role, and questions and answers asked in an interview. Please tell us in the comments section if you think there are any other questions that could be asked in an interview and any other topics you would like us to cover in the future. We have now launched our very own courses for you to take a more in-depth look at a variety of subjects, such as Introduction to AML, Beneficial Ownership, and Customer Risk Rating, for example. So make sure you visit our website for further details and let us help you connect the dots in KYC. Thank you for watching the video, and if you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe to watch more amazing videos.